Hello, and welcome to episode 42 of the Mindful Knitter podcast. My name is Claire, and I am your host. I'm coming to you from the southeast of the United States, and today I have several projects to share with you. Crochet projects, knitting projects, and then a couple of acquisition type things, but they're not yarn acquisitions, but they are yarn related. So a lot of fun things to share with you guys today. If you are new, welcome. I'm so glad that you found me, and I hope that you have fun hanging out for a bit today. This is a podcast primarily about yarn, whether it's knitting, crocheting, spinning, yarn dyeing, etc. And sometimes I will share special episodes with shop tours or travel vlogs or fiber festivals or other types of things. I recently posted a video for Spin Together, which is a yarn spinning event. It's a week long that happens every year. And so I posted a Spin Together 2024 video recently. But the podcast episodes are kind of the traditional knitting kind of vlogcast kind of thing. So I've got finished objects and works in progress to share with you guys, as well as, again, a couple acquisition-y type things. And if you're returning, welcome back. I'm so glad to have you here with me again today. Other things to mention, if you are new, all of the information about the yarn, the dyers, the designers, all that kind of stuff will be in the description down below the video. So will my contact information. So if you want to connect with me, you can find me on Ravelry as Mindful Knitter Pod and on Instagram as the.mindfulknitter. And you can always email me as well at clairethemindfulknitter@gmail.com, which is a very long email, but it made sense. So that's the email I went with. I think that's probably it for all the introduction stuff for today. So I'll go ahead and get into the projects that we have. The first one that is a finished object is the one that I am wearing. I am super, super excited to share this one with you guys. This is my Weekender by Andrea Mowry of Drea Renee Knits. This was a huge ordeal to make, not because of the pattern, but because of my yarn. And I wouldn't necessarily say there's anything wrong with this yarn in general if you were to buy this yarn, but my yarn, the first skein, we're just gonna go with the theory that the first skein was haunted. So I'll recap that a little bit for you guys if you haven't already heard that story. But I did finally get the sweater finished, and it's perfect. I knit the size 2. I did modify a bit. I cropped it quite a lot. So instead of it going down to like my hips or like the waistband of my pants, it goes down just to kind of like a high, like I'm high-waisted, so it goes just kind of like below my waist, my natural waist. Can't really see this super well, but it's okay. Lots of positive ease. Again, I knit the size 2 of this, and right now I'm just wearing it with like high-waisted leggings, and it is cute. I can also wear it with high-waisted jeans if I wanted to wear it with a sweater, or not a sweater, if I wanted to wear it with a dress. That would be really cute. I like to wear long dresses, so cropped sweaters are great for that for me. So I did crop it. And then another modification that I made was I knit the size 2, but I did go a little bit extra. You start, like you're knitting this bottom part, it's knit bottom up. So you're knitting this bottom part in the round, and then you split for the sleeves, and you knit this part flat, the front and the back flat, from like, you know, like here up. So what I did was I just continued on this a little bit longer than what the size 2 called for. Like I just added like 1/2 inch so that my sleeve circumference would just be a little bit longer, because I wanted to make sure that my sleeves weren't going to have a lot of negative ease. And they have basically 0 ease. They're pretty perfect, which is just what I wanted. And then I just kind of like decreased a little bit. I added some extra decreases basically to make up for the fact that I had extra stitches that I picked up for the arms. I didn't do like a size 3 for this part. It was like a 2.5 basically. I just went like another extra 1/2 inch or so for the flat knit portion. So the sleeves are somewhere, the circumference of the sleeves, I picked up stitches. The number of stitches that I picked up was somewhere between a size 2 and a size 3 in the pattern. And it worked perfectly for me. So I think those are the only modifications I really made. Otherwise, everything was knit to pattern. I used about 3 skeins of yarn, which I was so grateful with the yarn chicken game that I didn't actually have to dip into a 4th skein, because I only had 3 skeins of this yarn. So if I had needed a 4th, I was going to pull from stash like another just like blue yarn that was going to be fairly low contrast, and I was just going to like knit part of my sleeves or cuffs with it or whatever I needed to do in a cohesive way, but I didn't end up having to do that. I have a tiny bit of yarn left over, but not very much at all. So I definitely won yarn chicken. I was able to knit an entire size 2 weekender with 3 skeins of worsted weight yarn, 300 grams of worsted weight yarn, because they were 300 gram, or they were 100 gram skeins. The yarn information is in the description down below. I don't have the ball bands with me. I'm trying to remember the name of the yarn. I am not remembering the name of the yarn right now, but it's in the description down below the video for you, with the colorway and everything. It is a superwash wool yarn. It's not a merino. It is a tweed yarn, as you can see. Nice little tweedy nips in it. I really like this a lot. You can see it has the split hem, which is very cute. Yeah, and the sleeves are stockinette, whereas the body is in reverse stockinette, so you've got this slip stitch detail right up the center, and I love it. I'm definitely going to be making another one of these. It is super comfortable, super wearable, and the next one I make, maybe I'll make it just slightly less cropped, but not too much less cropped, because I do like this length quite a lot. There anything else to mention about it? Oh, so my haunted skein of yarn. So the first skein of yarn with this broke a million times. I think maybe moths got to it, either in the manufacturer's warehouse or in transportation, or maybe at the yarn shop I got it from. I'm not sure. I don't think it was from my house though, because I have never had any bug damage to any of my yarn, and there's no bug damage in any of my yarn currently. All of my yarn is fine, and it was only the first skein of this yarn that kept breaking. The other 2 were completely fine. So I think something was wrong with that skein when I bought it, because it broke 12 times in the first 10% of the ball of yarn. So something I think had gotten to it. So I had to deal with that while swatching. I had to do 5 different swatches because I couldn't figure out which sweater I was going to make, which yarn I was going to do, what yarn combination, etc. So I had to swatch a million times, broke a million times. Then I cast on the wrong number of stitches and knit through that entire skein of yarn before I realized that I'd cast on the wrong number of stitches, and this center thing was going to be off by like a full 10 stitches, so it was going to look ridiculous. So I had to rip out all of that. I'd started dipping into the second skein of yarn too. So I had already knit over 100 grams of yarn for the sweater, and I had to rip it all out and start from the beginning again. And then the next phase of the haunting, had a little storage issue, but we should be good now. So I had knit through for the second time that whole first skein again. I was almost through it when I was transporting the sweater at some point, and dumped a whole bunch of tea on it. I was carrying tea at the same time, and it spilled. So then I had, and it was black tea with milk in it. So then I had to deal with this whole situation of getting a black tea stain out of this, and it was everywhere. And it's stained, so I had to do like a full stain treatment carefully so that I wouldn't wreck the wool and the yarn. It was a whole ordeal. After I got through that first skein of yarn and started the second skein, I had no issues whatsoever. The rest of the sweater went swimmingly, but I had a total of, okay, we had swatching, breaking, wrong cast on number, and spillage. So I had a total of 4 different varying degrees of disaster or mishap happen in that first skein. I don't understand it. It was so ridiculous. The other 2 skeins knit without any kind of problem. So the first skein was haunted. I think that we have we've taken care of that problem though, because I've had no issues since then. So whatever is haunting my yarn has been exorcised, I guess. I joked a couple times about needing to sage my yarn or sage the sweater. Maybe I still will, who knows. But I love it. I think it is wonderful and fabulous and highly wearable. I think this is going to be a staple in my wardrobe. I can wear it to work. I can wear it out with friends. I can wear it over, like, when I'm teaching a yoga class. I can, like, slip this on before or after the class. Like, it's just so incredibly wearable. And it's a washable wool. It's not a washable superwash, or it's not a washable merino. So I think that this wool is going to be a little bit more durable and sturdy than a merino might be. I think this sweater is going to be in my closet for a long time and will be loved and enjoyed for a long time. And I do want to knit a second one. I don't know what colors yet. Maybe I'll look through my stash and see what I've got, but I love this so much. And I think the color is super wearable. It's just perfect. So hooray for my victory for my Weekender by Andrea Mowry. I cannot be happier with this. The front and the back are knit basically the same. The back is just slightly longer because this 1x1 hem is just slightly longer in the back, but otherwise the back looks just the same as the front, so I won't show you the back. I'm gonna put up this little skein of yarn while I'm thinking about it, because I'm gonna reach over here to show you guys my second finished object. I don't think there's anything else to share about this one. I don't think so. I think we're good. So my next finished object is a crocheted project. I decided to crochet a blanket. I have crocheted a lot of garments and a lot of accessories. I love to crochet sweaters. If you saw the episode where I was showing you my granny stripe sweater, or my granny, yeah, it's a granny stripe sweater. It's the Granny Go Round by Iron Lamb. I adore that sweater, and I definitely am going to make another one. But anyway, I've crocheted a lot of other things, but I haven't crocheted a blanket for myself. I do realize that I made a mistake last episode when I said I had never crocheted a blanket before. I have crocheted a few baby blankets, but I have not crocheted a blanket for me or any other adult. So this is my first crocheted blanket for myself, and I am super excited about it. I have not woven in the ends, so technically it's not completely finished, but I'll weave in the ends tonight. I wanted to go ahead and film this while I still had sunlight so that you weren't just getting fluorescent lighting. So that's why I'm showing this to you now before the ends are woven in. I don't have any other time over this weekend to film. I'm filming this right now on a Friday. It'll go live on Sunday. But yeah, I don't have any time to film this weekend, so I wanted to go ahead and get this for you guys while I could, and the lighting was okay. And I might add something else to the border of this too. I'm not sure. I have a border on it, but I don't know if I might want a little bit more of a border. So this is my just simple kind of granny stripe or granny stitch lap blanket. It's not a full-size blanket, but I started this after I filmed last week. So I've been working on this for like almost 2 weeks and finished it today. Basically a lap blanket. it's hard to show blankets because they're big. But I really love these colors. The yarn that I showed you guys for this last time was not all the yarn that I used, which some of you might be able to guess. So I had 3 skeins, or I think it's 3 cakes of yarn bee. It's an acrylic yarn bee Sugarwheel in the Crocus and Focus colorway. It's a Hobby Lobby yarn. And I think each of those cakes is, it's at least 200 grams. I think it might be 250 grams. I didn't really think that was going to be quite enough yarn for my blanket, but I did need to pull more than I thought that I was going to for the blanket. So I used all 3 of those, and it is a self-striping yarn. So that's where these like big blocks of color for the most part are coming from, is that self-striping acrylic yarn. But then this cream color, that was a different acrylic yarn that I had in stash. It's one of those Pound of Love gigantic skeins. It's a pound of acrylic yarn, and I have one of those in cream. And then the gray color was another acrylic yarn I had in stash that a friend gave me. The pink that we have here was, you can see it better here, I think. That thin stripe of pink was just some leftovers, so just for my scrap stash. Let's see, and then I had some other pinks I pulled from scraps, and then this one is actually a yarn that I dyed with avocados. So I've got that on either end that I added in, and then the border was another stash yarn that I pulled. It was a sport weight yarn, and I held it double, and I used that for my border along with the white acrylic yarn. This blanket is mostly acrylic, but there is a little bit of superwash wool. Some of the yarns that I pulled were a superwash wool, so that's not like perfect. I would have preferred if the entire blanket was all acrylic, just for like ease of care. I think I'm gonna be okay with the care on this anyway. I think I should be fine to still be able to machine wash it because it's the wool is superwash. And then as far as putting it in the dryer, what I might just do, because it's not really great to put superwash wool in the dryer. It's treated for washing, not for drying. But I think I will probably be okay to put it in the dryer at a very, very, very low temperature. And then maybe I just won't let it dry all the way, and I'll lay it flat to dry out the rest of the way. I'll have to experiment with it a little bit. What I'll probably will do is I'll probably try to put it in the dryer at a super low temperature, and then just take it out periodically while it's drying so I can check it to see for felting or anything else that might be wrong. And I think I'm just going to have to kind of experiment with it. If you guys have any thoughts, ideas, tips, tricks around any of that, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. Right now, that's kind of my plan. I also anticipate that I won't have to wash this very much because it's just going to be for me, mostly to cover me up while I'm crafting in the living room. So the dogs aren't going to be on it. I don't really anticipate that I'm going to be like using it while I'm eating or drinking much, or so I don't really think it's going to get particularly dirty and need to be washed very much in its life. But I do want it to be washable because I will want to wash it at some point, I'm sure. So I'm going to make sure all these ends are woven in securely. And I'll just be really careful with it when I'm washing and drying it. Yeah, so it's a great size for covering me up in my chair. It's big enough even for me to take like a nap with it if I wanted to. So I can take it into my bedroom or even take a nap on the couch with the dogs. But the dogs don't get to be on the blanket, just me. But I made it big enough to where it's good for a nap as well. Or I could take it in the car and it could be a good car blanket. It's a little heavy to take into the car. But not too bad. And it's definitely not as heavy as a full-sized crocheted blanket would be, especially an acrylic crocheted blanket. So I'm extremely pleased with it. And I'm really happy that I went with the stripes. A lot of people had some good suggestions. A couple people suggested a corner to corner blanket, which I do think would have been really, really cute. I didn't want it to be a square, and that was the main reason I didn't go with that suggestion. But I also just, after lots of thinking about it, I did determine that I just really, really wanted it to be stripey. Like I wanted it to have stripes. So we got stripes. And I'm so pleased. Again, it's very hard to show the whole thing. But it's perfect and it's cozy and it's soft and it is very warm. Acrylic is so warm. I'll just kind of keep it on my lap for now. But I love the colors. Pink and yellow together is my favorite color combination. And if you throw some neutrals in there too, it's just completely lovely. So I'm really happy with it. I might add some tassels to the corners. I don't know yet. We'll see. But I think that'd be kind of cute to have tassels on the corners. Okay, so those are my finished objects for today. I have my sweater. I have my blanket. Now for works in progress. I have one work in progress to show you guys today. I spent most of my time finishing my sweater, which honestly didn't take very long because the last 2 weeks I really only had to do the sleeves. So I finished the sleeves up like within that week and washed it and blocked it and did all of that. And I've been wearing it for the last couple of days, or the last few days really. And then the rest of my time I crocheted a blanket. So that was what most of my crafting time was spent on. But I did also start a new project. When I finished this sweater, I cast on a new one. You will notice that I am not mentioning my whips that I had, my other whips that I have. I have a cowl that I'm working on that I made no progress on the last 2 weeks. It's the Break and Tide cowl by Neilan, and it's beautiful and I love it. But I'm just not in the cowl knitting mood at the moment. I think that's just going to have to be one of those projects that I set aside time to do and kind of chip away at it, and get it finished probably in the next like month or two, so that I'm just not thinking about it anymore. And then I can put it away for next winter so I can wear it next winter. I've lost my enthusiasm for that one a little bit. So I think I'll have to kind of be structured about setting aside time, like 30 minutes a day or something, some sort of structure around it. Usually if I start working on something, I kind of get on a roll. So like what I might just do is just pick an afternoon or something and be like, okay, I'm working on my Break and Tide cowl. Probably if I do that, I'll just end up working on it for a while. I'll probably get good chunks of it done at a time. And it's also possible that as like I start working in the round, I will enjoy it more, because I do tend to really like working in the round. Working flat is not typically my favorite. So I'm almost done with the flat portion of that cowl. I think when I get to the knitting in the round part, I think that it'll fly off the needles a little bit more easily. So I have that work in progress, and then I have another shawl that's like a brioche shawl. It's a long-term project. Yeah, and Alex's sweater is still in progress. But that's going to take up forever because it's a cabled sweater for a giant man. Okay. And I don't love knitting cables, so I only agreed to do it because he really, really wanted a hand-knit cabled sweater. So this project that I cast on is bright. Yes, I showed this to you guys last time. I told you I was considering doing it, and here we are. So apparently I need a neon pink sweater. The sweater that I cast on is the Mousseux sweater. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but it is the Mousseux by Espace Tricot. Here it is on Ravelry. Let me get the brightness up on this so you can see it a little bit better. It is a circular yoke sweater. Let me see which picture would be the best to show you. Maybe just this one. So circular yoke sweater, very simple construction, very classic, elegant. and this will be the third one that I've knit. I got this pattern when it was free and downloaded it. I downloaded this pattern over a year ago when it was still free, but it's still available, but you have to pay for it now. It's $6.77 US. It's $8.75 Canadian. You knit it with a US 7 and 8, mostly US 8 or 5mm needle. They hold 2 strands of mohair double, but I am holding just 1 strand of DK for this, and I'm using a Boucle yarn. It is bright neon pink. This is a true game of yarn chicken. So this is my third Mousseux that I have knit. The first one I knit way too big. I knit the size 3 because in most sweaters and most garments I wear the size 3. But I did not need to do it for that one. And I looked at the measurements and I was just like, well, but based on like their design and what they were going for with the style and how much negative or positive ease they wanted, this would be right, and I didn't want to risk it, so I just went ahead and I knit it. Well, it's way too big for me. It looks ridiculous, actually. So that might end up getting gifted to somebody, or I will reclaim the yarn, perhaps. I don't love the idea of frogging out an entire sweater, but it might happen. So the second time I knit the sweater, I knit a size 1, which was the correct size for me based on how much positive ease I wanted. It gave me about this much positive ease to knit the size 1. I don't know if these are like things that they have changed since they've made it a free pattern. I don't know if maybe they have changed the size range more and if they have smaller sizes available now. But yeah, when I knit it, I knit the size 1, and it fit me about like this does. Less positive ease, like several inches less positive ease, but still a good amount of positive ease. And I love it. It took 3 skeins of my hand spun, so 300 grams of my hand spun yarn, plus a little extra of some of my hand dyed yarn, just for like the little edges of the cuffs, basically the I-cord edges. So for this sweater, I only have 2 skeins of this neon pink boucle. I think there's a good amount of yardage on these, which is good. But it took 3 full skeins for me to knit my other size 1. I will be knitting my sleeves shorter. I'm going to do like 3/4 length sleeves instead of full length sleeves. And I pulled a 3rd skein of yarn from my stash that I cast on with and did the short row shaping. It's like a coral-y kind of color. It's showing up a little more orange on screen, I think, than in person. In person, it's like a corally pink, and it looks very cute with this like bright highlighter neon pink. So I did that, and then I'm going to be using this yarn as well for the cuffs, and then the bottom edge and whatever ribbing or whatever edge I do for the bottom of the sweater. But this is really yarn chicken because I think that this skein is gonna, it might take this whole skein just for the yoke. I don't know. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. Hopefully not. Hopefully I get some of the body out of this too. And then I can get a little bit more body with the second skein, and then I can, I'm gonna start knitting my sleeves with my second skein before I finish the body, just so that I make sure that I get the amount of sleeve that I really, really want. And then I can do my cuffs and stuff on my sleeves, and then whatever I have left over from that skein, if any, but hopefully I'll have some left over, I can add onto my body, and then I can finish it off with this coral yarn. And then of course I'll do my collar with the coral, I'll do my cuffs with the coral, all of that. So I think I have an okay plan, but we're gonna find out. The coral is not a boucle yarn, but I kind of like the texture difference. I think it's gonna be fun. You can see the different textures. I do think it's gonna be fun when it's done. Also, this pink yarn is way more speckly than I thought, and the speckles are pooling. in a way I don't know if I love, but I think it'll be okay. I think it'll all be okay. I think it's going to be a very fun sweater, and I am enjoying working on it. The yarn is fun to work with, and the pattern is really enjoyable and soothing to knit. It's just a plain circular yoke, so it's mostly just knitting stockinette in the round, and every once in a while you have like an increase round. Not complicated, just soothing and enjoyable. So I'm enjoying the process of this one. We'll see if I love the finished object, but I have the feeling I'll really enjoy the finished object. So it's going to be very cozy. So I don't know how much I'll be able to wear it this spring, but we'll see. The boucle is going to make it very, very cozy. And the yarn that I'm using is Remi's Rovings and yarn. I think, yeah, they're in Canada. I got this off of Etsy. This colorway is Pyjama Party. So it's this highlighter neon pink with all of these rainbow speckles. Super cute. Super wash merino boucle. It's 100 grams, 240 yards. Yeah. So we'll see how this one goes. But I think it'll be good. I'm playing yarn chicken with this. I don't think I've ever really played yarn chicken quite to this degree before. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful it'll be fine. I'm hopeful it'll be really good and that I'll really enjoy it. I am enjoying the process, so that's at least half the fun, right? And I'm not really modifying anything on that one. I'm just knitting it to pattern other than, you know, making the sleeves. Well, I haven't modified anything yet. I'm making the sleeves shorter. But I might do, instead of the I-cord, I might do like a 1x1 rib or something instead. I'm not sure. But we'll see. We'll find out together. Those are my projects for today. So now I just have a few little acquisitions to show you, but my acquisitions are not yarn. They are yarn related. And I'm really excited about them. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. So the Rose City yarn crawl was going on this last week. It might be over now. And there were lots of local yarn shops that were participating in that. And some of them were just beautiful and adorable. I was following one and just completely fell in love with the shop, their entire vibe. It's just basically everything about them. It's Starlight Knitting Society. I think that they are in, I want to say they're in Washington. I knew this 2 minutes ago, and now I'm just forgetting because I'm blanking at the moment. But, you know, they're in the area where the Rose City Yarn Crawl is. So it's Starlight Knitting Society, and they had swag for the yarn crawl, and then they just also have swag just in general. So I got some things from them. If I'm ever in their area, I'm definitely going to visit their shop because it is completely adorable. Everything about their shop is charming. Everything about their sit and stitch group is charming. Just the whole thing is freaking charming. So I got their just general tote swag, which is so cute. This is their just normal logo, and I love it. This is Starla, the little knitting lady. His name's Starla. So cute. This is going to be highly useful. And then I got their special yarn crawl tote bag. Look at the owls. Oh my goodness, I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it. So my understanding is that the theme for the yarn crawl this year was Pacific Northwest flora and fauna. And so the Starlight Knitting Society had two patterns, like a crochet pattern and a knitting pattern that they released for the yarn crawl. One of them was called the Strix shawl, and I actually did get both of these patterns because I bought yarn crawl swag. So I got the patterns for free as part of like their yarn crawl event. I'm going to show you this shawl because it's absolutely gorgeous. This is the Strix shawl by Kayla Shea Overbay. Yeah, the collection is Pacific Northwest Flora and Fauna for the 2024 Rose City Yarn Crawl pattern collection. And it is absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. I'll show you a bigger picture of this too. But here are the specifications for the pattern, if you're curious. Let me show you this gorgeous, 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 gorgeous pattern. Oh my goodness, friends, look at this. Oh my gosh. I think this is a barred owl. And we have barred owls where I live, and I hear barred owls every night. I love barred owls. And I'll show you the little tips as well. I can't remember which plant this is, but this is a Pacific Northwest plant that's native. Yeah, so it's just absolutely gorgeous, and I adore it. Can I look at other patterns on here? 15 pattern, no. I was gonna see other projects because there's this was knit up in a few different I'm trying to see if if I can look at the other projects that people have uploaded for this, and I can't find it. Maybe because I'm not signed into Ravelry. But it's just beautiful. So I'm going to be knitting that at some point. But anyway, it's the barred owls. So their swag has barred owls on it this year, and I love it. I have an affinity for owls. These look like barn owls to me. So it's very possible. I know the Strix shawl was a barred owl, but these look like barn owls. I know that this sounds similar, but the barred owl is the Strix shawl. Don't these look, if you know what a barn owl looks like though, don't these look like barn owls to you? I think they might be. Barn owls are actually my favorite owls, so I'm not mad if they're barn owls instead of barred owls. I also got their t-shirt. Isn't it beautiful? I wish I lived there so that I could be part of the Starlight Knitting Society. I want more than anything to be part of the Starlight Knitting Society. Don't we all? That just sounds like a magical society to be in, and I want to be in it. So instead I'll settle for following them on social media and getting their swag. But this is a Bella and Canvas shirt, so it's super, super soft. And I love this, and I'm going to wear this all of the time. You know what else I'm going to wear all the time? Their special limited edition yarn crawl sweater. Wait until you see this. Hold on to your knitting needles or your crochet hooks. It's coming. Here it is. You guys, it is Starla the fairy knitting on top of a unicorn who is wearing a hand knit scarf. Unicorns and yarns? What even? As soon as I saw this pop up on Instagram, I was like, I put it on my calendar when they were going to do the shop update with the release of all of this swag. I put it on my calendar so that I wouldn't forget. And within the first hour that it went up online, I immediately went in and I got this stuff because I did not want to miss out on it. I especially did not want to miss out on this. The inside is fuzzy and soft, and this is magnificent. It has little mushroom houses for the fairies. Do you see the little mushroom houses? I couldn't be more thrilled about this if I tried. It's so good. There's no power on this earth that can stop me from wearing this just constantly. Oh my gosh. In the next episode, I am probably going to be wearing this unless it's really hot. Yeah, so this is my new obsession. It is a knitting unicorn. I can't even. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I don't have to just show this to you repeatedly nonstop, but yeah, I love this. I love this so much. So much. I am pleased. So that's my acquisitions for this episode. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did, but I doubt it because I don't think anybody could possibly enjoy it as much as I do. I'm a little obsessed with that sweater. And I adore my owl knitting t-shirt and the tote bags. I just could not be more thrilled. Yeah, so I would like to be an honorary member, please, of the Starlight Knitting Society. That is my new ambition in life. I think that's all of the stuff to show you today. So any chatty things to share with you. I am more than likely going to be next weekend at the Middle Tennessee Fiber Festival. It is happening outside of Nashville, Tennessee. I'm going to be visiting family that weekend, so I'm going to be in that area, and the Fiber Festival is going on that weekend. So I'm going to stop by and look at the vendors. I don't really have any specific purchasing plans for while I'm there. I'm really enjoying knitting for my stash right now, or working for my stash, because I'm also doing a lot of crochet. So I don't really have any specific purchasing plans other than I would like some more neon pink yarn, because I just don't have enough neon pink, like that bright highlighter kind of pink. I do have some like neon coral pink, which I adore. And I have some speckled and variegated skeins that have the neon pink in it, but I don't really have any just like straight up tonal or kind of subtly speckled, just normal kind of like 2-ply, 3-ply, 4-ply neon pink yarn. And I think I want some more, because I'm finding in a lot of projects I want to make, I want that yarn and I just don't have it. So I end up using something else, which is fine because I like my other yarn, but there are some items that I want to make and I want to make it in that color. So that's something I'm going to look for while I'm there. I don't know if I'll find it, but I'm not really ordering yarn online right now or this year, unless it's just a super special circumstance. I actually will have something related to that probably next episode. But yeah, this year I have a little bit of a resolution, a plan, a something to just not buy yarn online. Because I want to really emphasize working from stash, because I have a really beautiful stash and I want to play with that yarn. And if I keep buying new yarn, I'm not going to be able to play with the yarn that I have just because I can only knit so much at one time. So I am really using up my stash this year. I'm not trying to like get rid of my stash or anything. I want to play with the toys that I have because I like them and I love looking at them, but I also do want to use them and wear them. So buying in person is something I'm really emphasizing, whether that's local yarn shops or festivals. So since I'm going to be at a festival, that's kind of what I'll look for. I'll look for some neon pink yarn. Hopefully I can find some, but if not the end of the world. And then I'll also look for like special spinning things. So any really cool bats or any cool types of fiber for spinning, that's kind of on my list as well of things to look for at the festival. And then any really cool fiber related accessories. So if I find a project bag that I just completely fall in love with, or something of that nature. I don't really need any spinning accessories. I've got my spinning wheel and I have a spindle, like a drop spindle that I really, really like that I don't use very much, but I love it. It's an acrylic poured spindle and it's sparkly and has little dried flowers in it and some animal bones and things. And I really love it. So I don't feel the need to have another spindle. I like my spinning wheel and I like my spindle. yeah, so there just isn't tons that I am looking to buy while I'm there, but it'll be really fun to go, be in the atmosphere, talk to the vendors, maybe make some friends, and then I'll probably pick up a couple little things while I'm there. But if you are going to be at the Middle Tennessee Fiber Festival outside of not Atlanta, outside of Nashville next weekend or this coming weekend, then feel free to say hi. And you can message me on here. You can leave a comment below, or you could message me on Instagram and let me know. And if you want to, like, I don't know, like intentionally like meet up while we're there or something, and we can hang out. But I'd love to say hi to anybody who might be there. So that's coming up, and that's exciting. Trying to think if there's anything else yarny related to really share with you guys. I feel like yarn related stuff does happen to me in life, but then I forget it by the time the podcast is happening. I should start writing them down so I can share more yarny stories with you guys, because things happen to me. Nothing else is coming to mind at the moment. Well, I was thinking about vending at a fiber festival in April. I was thinking about selling hand spun yarn, hand dyed yarn, bats, particularly alpaca blend bats for spinners, maybe some Rolegs. But I think I'm not going to, because the booth rental or the booth fee was actually really high. It was 6 times the price of my booth fee for the craft market that I did in December. And I just really didn't want to pay 6 times the price of for a booth. Even though it's probably worth it, I don't necessarily think that they're charging something really unfair. I looked at kind of what booth fees tend to be in my part of the country for these types of fiber festivals, etc. And they're somewhere kind of in the middle-ish. So like they're not asking for a ridiculous amount, but it was a bit much for me since I don't have like a business. Like I have a business and then I kind of sell some things through that business, but I don't I'm not a full-time like yarn business. I'm not even really a part-time yarn business. I just kind of do it as a hobby, and then I made it to where, you know, I can sell it legally. But for me, that booth fee just wasn't really practical. And I'd have to be there like all 3 days to really make it worth it. And the festival's like an hour away. So that's 2 hours of driving every day for 3 days, plus getting all the inventory ready. And then I lose an entire weekend. So I lose 3 days of hanging out with friends and family and getting stuff done around the house, etc. So that was something that I kind of decided against. I was thinking about it and it seemed like it would be fun, but I think I've decided not to do it. I am curious though, if any of you guys have vended at fiber festivals, what your experiences were. If you've got any comments about it, advice, yeah, just anything you think would be helpful for me to know about, or things that you'd like to discuss amongst yourselves in the comments, because I haven't done a fiber festival before. This is my first time looking into vending at one, and yeah, I just was deterred a bit by the time commitment and the booth fee. Yeah, I'm not sure. I do think I might email them and ask them if it's possible for me to just vend for 1 day, and if I can have like a reduced booth fee for only vending 1 day. If they say no, that's totally fine, and I would totally understand that, because they probably want someone who can be there for all 3 days. Like they probably, you know, that would be ideal for them, and I get that. So if it's possible for me to do it, I might do 1 day with them. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to do it if I have to be there for all 3 days and I have to do the regular booth fee, because yeah, for someone who just kind of does this for fun, it doesn't really super make sense for me. It's not super feasible. But yeah, just some Fiber Festival chat today, I guess. Nothing else really. I've got my sweater that I'm working on. I'm going to try to get my Break and Tide cowl finished up soon. And then let's see what I cast on next. I have a crocheted sweater that I might cast on. I shared it with you guys last time, so if you didn't see the previous episode, you can check that out, and I show you guys the yarn and the pattern for the fingering weight crocheted sweater that I'm considering. Or it might be a DK weight. It's all fingering weight yarn that I have for it, but I might be holding it double for a DK weight sweater. I can't remember. But it's a beautiful sweater. So check out that video if you are interested. I think that's everything for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm gonna go get some water because my throat is dry, and maybe a little bit of a snack. And then actually I need to work out first and then I'll have a snack. Having a snack and then working out sounds like a terrible idea. My stomach would not do well with that. So I think I might work out and then get a little snack. I was so happy to spend some time with you guys today. Thank you for hanging out with me. As always, if you've got questions, comments, just want to leave a little bit of love, then please do in the comments down below. I hope you guys have a wonderful next 2 weeks full of happy crafting, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.